I guess that means it is time for us to take a look and check. Where did that come from? I don't know. Time for us to check on sports, and if we check on sports, we have to check on.
And they will bring on their closer, Aroldis Chapman, to get the 3 outs that will send them to the postseason. Calhoun at first, 2 men out, 9th inning, Yankees lead 9-1. And the 1-2. Swing and a miss, and the Yankees win, and they are champions of the American League East.
Yankee fans have been waiting a long time to hear that. Let's bring him in. Much longer than I think they ever thought. Good morning, Mike Cozzi.
12 years.
12 years. But you know the amazing thing about looking back at how good the Yankees used to be in baseball? They've been in the World Series 55 times, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Won 27 times. Now, that's astounding. It's almost a 50%
But they've been
rate.
in the World Series 55 times and won 27?
Yeah.
So that means they lost 28.
Yeah, well, that also means, but still, when you look at it, almost 50% of the World Series, it's amazing. But here's the thing. Don't look at the past 20 years. Look at the years before that. Look back, when they were in the World Series, let's say, 48 times and won 25. Yeah, I mean, a big chunk of that came in two distinct decades. So, anyway.
Ancient history.
Yeah, it is ancient history, but anyway, so they've done that. But, and once I'll get to the Mets again, even though they're not going to win, they still shaking. Every time they look like they're totally out of it, they win a couple of games just to hang in it for their fans. I don't know if if it's making a difference in attendance or not, but that the guy hasn't done a bad guy managing that club.
If they didn't get Diaz from Seattle, they'd probably be in the playoffs.
No, you're probably right.
I mean, how many games did he blow?
He, right off the bat, I can tell you 5.
Well, if you take half of them and put them in there, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He blew a lot more. He blew a lot more than 5 games. I could tell you that.
No,
That's the difference with the Mets, and you never know what you're going to expect one night to the next one. They could come out. They can be the team that looks like they should be in the playoffs, or they can come out and look like the team that can't spell playoffs. You never know what you're going to get with them. But to their credit, they're hanging around. The collapse of the Cubs is what's keeping them in this race right now. But the Mets have a tough road ahead of them. I think they're 3 games behind. Are they 3 games out of the wild card?
I'll tell you right now,
something like that.
The Mets are 3.5 games out of the wild card. Yeah,
3.5. That's tough because
there's only 7 or 8 games left.
I think they got 9 games left. They have 10 games left, I think, because unless they only have 2 against the Braves. They play the Reds, who have been playing pretty good. Then they play the Marlins, who are awful, and then they finish up against the Braves. Now, you don't know what the Braves are going to do. My opinion is that the Braves are going to be playing baseball because they don't want to go into the playoffs cold. They're not going to pull, we're going to rest everybody for the last weekend. They may only play a half a game, but they're going to play. The other teams ahead of them play lousy teams. One team that's mailed it in is the Pirates, and I think the Cubs play the Pirates 4 times. So the Mets have a tough schedule ahead of them, but you painted yourself in the corner. And like I said in the spring, the games you lose in April are just as important as the games you need to win in September. And that's the corner the Mets painted themselves into. But to their credit, they're still showing up. There's games that they should have won recently that they didn't, namely one against the Rockies, a team that's mailing it in. And those are the kind of games you have to win if you're going to make a playoff run. You have to win 80 to 90% of your games at the end of the schedule. And the Mets aren't doing that. They're still playing, but they're not playing consistently at the level they need to. They're a team that if they make the wild card game, no matter who's pitching, they can win 2-0, 8-0. They could lose 2-0, 8-0. You never know what to expect.
Well, at least the lights are on now for the Mets, and it looks like because there's a lot of young players on that team for the first.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. Like back in 2015, when they made the World Series, they stood pat. Making the World Series was the worst thing that could happen to the Mets because they stood pat. They let people walk that shouldn't have walked. The Mets are still far away. The Mets, although you think they're close, they're still far away. They need several players in key positions to make themselves a viable contender, not to make a wild card, but to win a division and have a chance to win a World Series. So it all depends what they do in this postseason. They can't pull in any more Robinson Canoes or Diaz's. They can't do that. They have to get guys that are going to help them.
All right. So that's where we stand right now in baseball. All right, man, we'll see what else happens. We were wrong in the NFL last night.
What a bad game that was.
I didn't even see it, so I can't.
It was garbage. It was absolute garbage. I watched a little bit of it here and there. Just another reason why I know I don't watch football.
All right, so where do we stand now?
I'm 10-2, and you're 6-6.
All right. Let me pick first because I don't want people to think
I've
that
got mine written down. I'm not changing them.
Okay. Dallas over Miami, game 1. Game 2. And New England over the Jets. And game 3. Game 3, I'm going to take the Chargers over... Who are the Chargers playing? Houston. I'm going to take the Chargers over Houston.
Okay. I wrote down San Diego because that's how I remember who the Chargers are. I'm going to take Seattle over New Orleans. I think that the key blow to Drew Brees is really going to destroy that team. I'm going to take Green Bay over Denver. Denver looks like another spelling of ineptness. And I'm going to take New England over the Jets. I'm not going to take the layup this week again with Dallas. I'm going to let you take that one. So I'm going with New England, Seattle, and Green Bay.
All right. Well, with my luck, seeing as I bet them, it won't be a layup. Watch.
Put it this way: if Dallas loses, every suicide pool in the country will be gone. Yeah. It'll all be over because that's everybody's pick.
You know I'm really stretching to try to get a winner when I pick Dallas to win anything.
Well, it's a good pick. It's a good pick.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not doing it. That's all. I think the other ones I picked were pretty good.
All right.
I wonder what the money line's good, if there is one, with Dallas beating Miami. You're probably going to have to lay like $1,000 to win 50 cents. I saw a commercial on TV the other day, and this is the sick part about sports gambling across the country. It's showing people how to bet on field goal attempts, pass attempts, and stuff in games. Oh yeah, it's nuts. But you know what? This isn't something new. Back in the day, my father was a big Yankee fan. He used to go all the time when it probably cost you 70 cents to sit in the box seats. They bet on every pitch.
Yeah.
There were bookmakers in the Yankee Stadium, and they would bet on every pitch. So it's nothing new.
No, it's more convenient now. You can sit in your lounge
now
chair.
Instead of telling the bookie, hey, this is going to be a strike, you go to the app on your phone and you do it.
While you're eating potato chips and drinking beer.
There you go. It's just swimming in a pool. Oh, let me swim to the side and bet on this pitch or whatever.
All right. Any racing this weekend to talk about?
Yeah, we got racing this weekend. We're going to start at Belmont. 10th race tomorrow is the Grade 2 Kelso going 1 mile, a one-turn mile. Doesn't draw a big of a field, but I'm looking at 2 shots in here. There's really no favorites in this race. I'm looking at the 6-horse Plainsman, who's 1 for 1 over the track, coming off of a layoff from November to August. Ran 7-furlong race, real nice up at Saratoga. Got a nice buyer number. This horse should definitely be tighter off the layoff with that first race. And the other horse I'm going to use is the 7-horse, Tale of Silence. This horse is out of a Sunday Silence mare by Tale of the Cat. This horse is coming out of the same race as Plainsman. They ran 2-3 in that race. Tale of Silence has 19 starts lifetime with 3 wins. All 3 of them coming at Belmont. He's 3 for 6 at Belmont. He's a horse for course, gets a big jockey change to Castellano, who's not riding very well right now. Hopefully he'll wake up tomorrow. So in the Kelso, we're going to go with a 6-7, 7-6 exact the box, and we're going to take Plainsman to win. Race prior to that on the card is the 8th race at Belmont, the Grade 3 Noble Damsel. Here's another Chad Brown special. 6 horses in the race. Chad Brown has 2 of them. So what are you going to do here? I'm going to look and hope that Billy Mott can win with the 4-horse. So my pick in the 8th race at Belmont tomorrow is the 4-horse Capla Temptress. And our last race for the weekend is down the Turnpike at Parks. The 11th race tomorrow is the Pennsylvania Derby. They have a very nice card there tomorrow. A lot of stakes races on board. 7 horses line up for this race. One of them is scratched, the Maximum Security. The fake Kentucky Derby horse isn't running. They say he has colic. I hope he doesn't. I don't believe he does, but that's another story for another time. So there'll be 6 horses in this race. All my money will be going on the 4-horse, War of Will. He's heads and shoulders above this field. He's working out lights out since the middle of August. He's pointed to this race. Skip the Travers. War of Will should and will win the Pennsylvania Derby tomorrow at about 10-6.
All right. Mike, have a good weekend. We'll check with you on Monday.
I'll be here. Let's see if the Mets can somehow scrape up a game or two and get back into this thing a little better.
All right. Take care, Mike.
Take care, guys.
Mike Cozzi with a check on sports this morning here on The Breakfast Club.